Hi. Went ahead and finished up my desert landscape here, so I wanted to show you guys a look. Almost all the plants that I'm going to be using are in this landscape plants for the Arizona desert, low water usage plants. So I wanted to show you how the landscape turned out and how my water harvesting techniques are kind of implemented here. And all my plants here are either medicinal, edible, or have some type of insect benefit, or kind of provide some type of habitat for a local native species. So let's get started. What I have down here, first off, is the violet silverleaf, which is native to the Sonoran Desert. It produces these beautiful violet flowers on it. As you can see there, I got a low water drip on there, about a quarter gallon per hour. This is going to be the desert wolfberry, and this is native to the Sonoran Desert, and it has those little violet flowers on them, and it some people call them thorny, but really what it is these stems often dry up and break off and become sharp, and that's what people think are thorns, but they're actually just little small branches. Anyways, that's the desert wolfberry. It's a kind of a brother or sister to the goji berry. And here's another one right here, another wolfberry. And actually, I think I have a little fruit here, little berry, little wolfberry there, and it's actually just came up recently. So I'm gonna go ahead and eat that. That's actually really good. Wow. Got my first edible off my yard. Fantastic. All right. What you see here is the Mexican bird of paradise, another low water usage plant. That'll provide a lot of beneficial flowers for insects. Also the hummingbirds absolutely love those. I have here, which is called the fig prickly pear, but it's actually lacks spines on it, and this is actually one of the most used for nopales or nopalitos, which is basically you cook the pads up, you char them up, you skin them down, and you actually cook them and eat them. So that's a edible cactus there. Next I have on this border over here, which is a good bush, is the pomegranate. So these are basically a wonderful pomegranate variety. Two of them right here, and stuck in between there is the this is a fairy duster, and so these red flowers here just get eaten up. Oh my gosh, just get attacked by bees when these things get larger, and it's quite pretty amazing sight to see them grow up, and they'll get about 3-4 feet tall, and this will provide a nice border along my property here. This right here is the Peruvian apple cactus, and so it's like a night blooming cereus, almost something like that, but it will bloom and then it'll produce about an orange size fruit on it, which is similar to the dragon fruit. So it's very delicious. The next, right here in the middle of the yard, which is going to be my main shade tree for the house, which is going to block the early morning sun, and this is the Museum Palo Verde. Now, this one is a thorn-less variety, so it won't be difficult to prune away or anything like that. And all these, it's planted and growing nicely, but it's a low water usage. And this is going to be sending roots down into my basins down here, basically 2 basins here. And that's where it's going to be, after it gets established, that's where it's going to get most of its water. All right, now this is the Mexican petunia, which is native to the Sonoran desert area, also in some tropical areas of Mexico, but some places call it invasive, especially in like Florida. But here in Arizona, I don't have that problem, but it's got these beautiful flowers. The hummingbirds just attack them, and it's a nice plant to have. Really beautiful, adds a lot of life and color to the area. So that's been doing just great. Down here is the medicinal aloe, and so this aloe vera plant, obviously for medicinal uses, it's also edible, so you can cut the thorns off and some of the skin off and use that in like a blender and juice that. It's pretty healthy for you. All right. Next, let's go down here. This is called the purple prickly pear, and its pads actually will turn purple either during times of drought or during cold temperatures. So this winter, those pads will probably turn purple. It's just a little guy right now, and almost requires no excess watering. I don't even have, I'll just hit it with the hose every now and then to give it some water. But that will produce nice prickly pears, tunas that will, fruit, and I'll have those at least once a year. So that's all the kind of drought-resistant plants on this side. I also planted some Cleveland sage here, some basil, and I got a bunch of roses. The Cleveland sage can be used as a herb, obviously rose hips and flowers for beauty, and also protection. So security is one of our survival needs, and when those grow up, it'll provide, prevent access, easy access into the windows there. And they're also going to be providing shade for this wall right here, which gets baked on in the early morning hours. So I got another sage there, some more roses, some mums up here, and all those pull in a bunch of insects that are going to be pollinating my plants. So that's pretty good. And oh yeah, it's October, so family, we got our pumpkins ready. All right, now let me show you my next one over here. Now this is a very uncommon one that people don't think about as an edible, but I learned this from let's see, who was it? Oh, the vegan athlete. The vegan athlete hooked me up on this one and tempted me to purchase this tree, and that is the desert Sonoran ironwood. Now the ironwood tree, it's pretty gnarly, has tons of thorns on it. Some people in the military would call this the bastard tree in Arizona. And because you put your hand on it, you're like, bastard! And it hooks you, and you can't get unstuck from it. Planted some aloe at the base there, and threw in a bird of paradise on the side for a little bit of color. But the seeds from this ironwood tree are going to be edible, and when they're green, you can almost eat them like the edamame. So I'm going to check that out. So, anyways, that's the completed front yard. But I wanted to show you. Also the kind of the harvesting kind of part, water harvesting part of my landscape. And each one of these areas right here, right there, and down in there, those are all low areas. They're going to capture probably about around 40 gallons of water in those areas from my estimations. And that's any of the water that basically falls in this area or off the top of my roof here and pushes down and kind of gets stuck on that side of the path. Anything on that side of the path that the water comes down from my house, that falls down there, it's going to run off and it's going to push into there. Now in here, it's about 2 feet deep, 2 feet deep from the outlet right there, and that's going to hold, this area right here is going to hold roughly 1,200 gallons of water. Now the other area that goes farther down, that's going to hold approximately 1,500 gallons of water. Now, it's only a foot, or here's about 2 feet deep, and there it's about 2 feet deep as well, from where the water will spill out. And you don't think it's going to it'll hold a lot of water, but once you do the calculations, it can hold quite a bit. Now, to give you kind of approximation on what that tree needs there, I have those are 1/4 gallon per hour drippers, and I water that for about, I think it's 10 minutes daily. But once it gets established, then I'm going to back that off. So that'll use about a couple gallons, maybe a gallon of water a week. So that tree, I shouldn't have to water it much once. If we get a few rainfalls each year, it should be good to go once this thing gets established. So, anyways, that was my my front desert landscape. It's water harvesting, and it's very productive. So I know it's not the most permaculture in the world because it's not covered in wood chips, but all this area is going to be collecting up a lot of organic matter and leaf litter, and it's going to be able to then kind of act as a sponge and providing that mulch and that ground cover and produce a little bit of nutrient for the plants to consume. So anyways, that's all. If you have any comments, go ahead and post them down below. I'll go ahead and post some links to where I found these types of plants, and give me a thumbs up if you like that. Thanks.